Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to work on a Shimano Calcutta. This one is the Calcutta, I believe it's the 100, yes, the 100B. This one is another reel that Anthony brought me. He's taking nice care of his reels, and he has these brought in on a regular basis. So what's a regular basis? Well, it's about a year, and he asked me to make sure that they get serviced so that he can take them fishing worry-free. So today we're going to show you how to take these reels apart, how to service them, how to keep them fishing for a long time to come. Well, if you like these types of videos, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button. That will tell you when I'm posting, and well, you'll be able to see if that's a reel that you're interested in. I work on all kinds of reels. I work on vintage, I work on current, I work on everything in between. I work on saltwater, freshwater, bait casters, spinning reels, conventional reels, and just about everything in between. So it's a good place to learn the art of reel repair and learn how to do it yourself, which is kind of what I established this for, to kind of show you how I work at it and teach you how to do it yourself. All right, well, we're removing the exterior pieces. There's a little washer back there. There's a couple of tension washers, and we'll put them right in the stack so that I remember how they go. And there's a collar for your instant anti-reverse. Well, I want to encourage you to take pictures as you do your service. Also, I'd like to encourage you to kind of protect yourself from the greases and the dirts and the like that are inside these reels. And, the pictures are going to help you to establish landmarks for where they're that's a tough one. Where the pieces go, orientation-wise and order-wise, in terms of when you took them off. And those landmarks will certainly help you to learn how to put the reel back together again should you get stuck. Well, that releases the back case here. There's nothing really to do on the back case, but you need to take that off in order to take the side plate off. While we're at it, we want to remove the spool. And here's a common problem. This spool is way overloaded with line. You can see I cannot remove the spool because there's too much line. When you go to line a spool, you need to leave 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch below the balance of that. We got way too much on here. So we're going to stop. I'm going to take the line off so that we can remove the spool, and then we'll be back. Okay, well, I've been able to remove that. And one of the things I've noticed is we have very bad bunching on this braid here. And most of the time, when you get a bunching situation like this where it's not spooling evenly, it means that you have braid slip. And I can't feel it right now, but that's usually what causes this. So I'm going to recommend to Anthony he remove all of this braid and do it again because, well, it's just not working properly. Braid slip happens when you have a smooth arbor on your spool and braid is too slick to grab it. So what happens is it just keeps turning even though you think you got it tied down, and it just eventually it just bunches to the point where it's affecting the reel performance. All right, I'm going to oil the bearing. We should have a bearing in this case. I'm going to do the same. And then we just take that spool and reinstall it back in there, get it out of the way. Let's go over to the gear side then. There's 2 screws that are holding the gear side on. So let's remove those. And when I take these off, as I mentioned, I like to put them into a parts tray. Parts tray helps me keep track of them, and I know where they are when it comes time to reinstall. With those 2 screws out, we will be able to remove the side plate now. Pulling up and out on that. We have a collar for the anti-reverse. We have 2 springs. You want to get those off right away. And those of you that are watching this say, gee, Dennis, it looks like you did the one you just did on the Cardiff. Very similar. A little bit different in the gearing, but other than that, These reels are pretty much the same reels. Alright, I want to pull that main gear up now, up and out. Okay, pull that main gear off. You'll have a click ratchet behind that. That's going to trip when you push down on your release. And internally, you want to pull the main pinion gear and the carrier out. Make sure that the rest of this reel is clean. It is. I'm just going to use some WD-40 here, penetrating oil as a degreaser. I just saw a spot of grease here. And you don't need to remove the trip lever unless you see that there's dirt or grease or grime or it's just not working right. But you should oil it. So I'm going to drop some oil behind there. Just let that seep in. I don't use grease because grease tends to lock up on the assembly itself. Well, the reel is dry. It's probably, if there is a performance issue here, it's because it's dry. Check the teeth on the pinion gear, which I've already done. Make sure that it's uniform and clean. Find the part of the pinion gear that has the angles on it on this side that faces in, and then you can reset the pinion gear on those two posts. If you had not checked, that would have been a good place to take pictures. The points face away from you and they need to seat onto the shaft. That's got a rectangular hole in it. Make sure that that rectangular is seated. If it's not seated, it's going to kind of wobble and you're going to have difficulty tripping the reel when it's time to release the spool. Alright, a little bit of grease onto the main gear. That was the same thing I did here. Sometimes I forget to tell folks. You want to check the teeth, make sure they're all uniform, clean, not cracked. And work that down and mesh that in with the pinion gear, just like that. I believe there's a bushing on the back of this one. I like to oil back here. That's the bottom of the gear shaft. If your gear shaft was sticky or not working very well, then what you could do is you could go in and remove that E-clip and take care of the servicing underneath. Clean it up, so on. Just going to put a little bit of grease onto that drag washer. You can see that that glove comes in handy. I'm going to set that inside the bay there. Guessing that's some kind of a carbon washer because of the debris it's leaving here. Okay, clean the back of that washer, set that in. And then you can go to your parts tray. Oh, that's your parts tray, it's sitting on the desk here. Get the collar for the anti-reverse clutch. Make sure it's nice and dry. Go ahead and install that. There's two studs on the bottom of this. Make sure that they go into the main gear and that seats flush with the main gear. On this case, you just want to make sure it's clean. If you took your anti-reverse clutch out, notice that the plastic side faces down and the metal side faces up in the assembly. If you put it on the other way, your reel won't crank forward, it'll only crank backwards. I got a question the other day on that. Once that's set, there is a bearing where the spool is going to lodge. Oil that bearing. I choose the oil bearings, not to grease them. And then we can put the case back on. When you're going to put that case back on, make sure that your screws clear the outside and that your two screws line up with the holes in the case underneath. Back into my parts tray to find the two small Phillips head screws that go in there, and I've done it again. I just did this reel with a Cardiff, and for some reason I just don't remember to put the little springs on the yoke shaft. 2 for 2. So those of you that were watching the Cardiff one at one point, no, this is not a repeat. This is a continued omission that I seem to make. this back on again. Align those screw holes. Make sure that it's nice and tight. And then go grab the 2 screws that belong in there. Tighten those down. And these are small screws, and me and small screws, well, those of you that watch the channel know. You can finish my sentence. We don't play well together. All right, that's one. Tighten it down, make sure that it's seated properly. Let's do the same thing with the screw that belongs up top here. And we can reinstall. We'll see how we did. Okay, we want to take our 2 shim washers at this point. They have a bend in them. I like to put the bend with the outside wings facing up on the first one and facing down on the second. There's really no incorrect way to do that. It does relate to the tension of the star adjuster. And to me, kind of works the right way. If you want less, you put them belly to belly. Just installing the star adjuster now. Okay, when you go to set your case back in, you need to make sure that your anti-reverse, your free spool release is in the down position. So grab this little lever and pull it down, and that'll enable you to set this properly. I'm going to bring the reel case around. I'm going to raise up the free spool button so that this stud is at the top, and then we can bring our case over, rotate it till it aligns with the screw holes, has a nice flat flush finish to it. Tighten these in by hand. I do the 2 that are going to hold it to the frame first. And then I come over and try to tighten the one that's going to hold the back end case in. And go back and finish the tightening. There you go. Sometimes when you're doing this, the drive gear for the line guide does not drive all the way. So what you want to do is you want to just do what I did there, leave it a little bit proud until you can do that. Okay, big old handle. I've oiled the back end. There's a little port here for the oil in the front. Work that in. Bring your handle on. The nut cap is next. Tighten that down. And generally speaking, if you get your point on the nut cap to point to that hole in the handle, you'll be able to set your tie down and align that hole correctly. This one's off just a little bit, so I'm going to put the wrench on it and pull it into place. One more piece, then we'll give it a test. I'll align that, bring this in, tighten up the drag. All right, let's give it a spin. Wow, nice reel. Nice reel. Like it all around. Just make sure your side plates are tight. Let's go for the free spool. We're free spooling nicely. Again, that braid's going to have to be changed. Does it click back? It does. And that's it. That's your service of a Calcutta 100B, but it applies to all of them. The 200, the 400, and the like. All of those gear side plates are the same, so you can act accordingly when you go to service any one of the Calcuttas. Okay, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you do to keep us safe. Your efforts truly are appreciated. To everyone, enjoy the art of reel repair. Enjoy fishing with your reels. Give them a second chance. And Stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.